Hey, what's going on? This, of course, another gift from Dad. What's your name?
Rolando Acosta.
All right, you got any children?
I got 3 children, Danny, Gloria, and Christina.
All right. And so how old were you when you had your first one?
I was 23 when I had Gloria. She's the eldest.
Uh-huh.
And then every 16 months, the other one came after the other. We actually, the last one, it was the 11-year difference between the other two.
Oh, wow. So you got to talk to me about that. All right. So talk to me about the difference in you having a child at 23 versus 11 years later,
Right. So which was actually, I had Christina when I was 40.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a difference. And yes, we actually was set with having the 2 children.
Uh-huh.
And but God has all the ways. So he came out pregnant without us knowing. It was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pleasant surprise. He actually helped us out as a family. Having another baby in the house and doing all that thing. We always been pro-life, that we believe that nothing is chance. Everything is programming our life to mean something, and it's whatever we do with it that is successful. So we received Christina. She was the youngest, and she's the one that came in later. And she, created that new atmosphere that we had 10 years earlier.
Yeah, a breath of fresh air.
We're starting to forget. So, it was good.
So what does it mean being a father to you?
Being a father for me, unfortunately, because of the way we grew up and the way I was brought up, it is responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's being able to provide for your family, not only financially, but also mentally, nurture them, to understand what a father figure is that needs to be with the kids. I was always fearful that anything that would happen with me and my wife, it would have created a separation that would have hurt the development of the children. And usually that's what happens when separations and things. I mean, the kids are the ones that suffer a lot. So some might say, yeah, but you're not going to sacrifice your life and stay in a relationship that's messed up.
Yeah.
I said, well, you know what? When I got married, I made a promise to God that we were going to be together forever.
Work it out.
So we work it out. We work hard, and these difficult times, but we find a way to make sure that the kids always had a father and a mother. I think to me is
very important to have both in the home.
That's correct.
Because one helps the other. And,
it helps each other, and it develops that nurturing thing on the side of the children, that they also know that they need to be responsible with their family. So then all of a sudden, generations later, you already helping our society and things, because we actually now keeping fathers home instead of away. Yeah. I have most of my friends, they divorce and things like that, and I seen the effect of being divorced, separating, leaving the kid. Even when they try to help each other to try to salvage the kid, there's something there that breaks,
So, how was your relationship with your father growing up?
It was very good, believe it or not. Was never here with my father, which was a very common thing in Latin America. Parents were taught, because to instill discipline.
Yeah.
Whatever they did to me, it must have worked, because I always get But me and my father, he's a quiet man, very little expression. That I inherit for him. I find it difficult to hug my kids and kiss and all that, So I don't know what it is. I mean, like, I remember just hugging my father for probably a second or third time when we came to the country. When he came in first, we came into the country, and in the airport, I mean, we couldn't hold on. We just hugged each other. But I still find it difficult. But I don't try to show love with money or things like that. But I do know they know that I'm always going to be there for them.
That you love them,
regardless.
Yeah, you said when you got into the country. So where'd you come from?
I'm from the Dominican Republic. The whole family, we lived there I was 15. when I was there, and then I'm the oldest of the males, so the other 5 came are younger than me.
Okay.
But we were in Dominican Republic in very difficult time. The reason that we came here was financial reason.
Okay.
And some political reasons. My father was being put in jail all the time by the regime. So that pushed him to come in. It was a difficult process because they come in, then they had to settle apartments and settle a job, secure jobs for them to be able to bring us. So we were separated from my parents for a year and a half.
How did that that didn't affect you anyway?
Oh yeah, man. It was difficult because we were always together. I mean, we didn't have much. Sometimes we only had one meal a day, and that was it. But we were always together. The mother, the father, and us.
Okay.
But when we separated a year and a half, we know it was a necessity. So we stayed with an aunt to live with. I was the oldest, so my responsibility was to take care of everybody. So that made it a little hard, a 15-year-old. What can we do? And all I wanted to do was play baseball.
Yeah.
And I couldn't. But we knew it was for the better. So then a year and a half later, we got the visas, and we immigrated here legally.
Okay.
It was a difficult process, and then we had to settle in the Bronx in the 1969, November 7, 1969. Tough. Fort Apache. If anybody wants to know what Fort Apache was, look at the movie. That's exactly the area that we live. When we moved out of the Bronx, the only building standing in the whole block, 6 blocks around, was our building.
Wow.
3 families were living on it.
Wow. Moving from Dominican Republic and being in that tough area or whatever, and you had your father, therefore that probably helped you adapt a little better when you got here.
Yes. It was difficult because of the culture, not having anything, nothing at all. You live in those Latin countries when you are poor like that we only getting from day to day, whatever my father brought home, that's the only thing that we had to eat. It tastes, it puts something in the soul of a child. To me, it was hopelessness. We went to the university in Dominican Republic where the rich people actually were able to go.
Yeah.
And I looked at them going into the university. I said, man, I'm never going to have that. There's no way I ever going to have that. So it was like a desperation on me, which made me desire coming to the United States even more. So when we came to the country, we knew that we needed to excel, to do good in the Bronx, in the midst of drug dealers, friends that were addicted. We knew that we had to come out. Yeah, and we had the same fights like a lot of people do with gangs. We survived that.
Okay.
We used to go to school through St. Mary's Park, and every day there was one dead kid there from gang fights. And we lived that. We got beat up, we got stolen, robbed, but we survived, thank God.
How do you feel about you coming over? Then, you have your children and things. But what you've been through, it's like, do you have any tolerance for excuses?
Very hard. As I get older, I develop all the things that I didn't think I could do, because exactly what you're saying. It's very hard to tolerate people when they say, "Oh, I don't have this. I'm never going to have it." I said, "What do you mean? Here I come." We had years and years eating one meal a day. That's all we had. So why couldn't you make it? So and I was impatient when I was young, as I was growing up. I started working, and I didn't care what it was, man. 15, 16-hour days work. And if I could do it, anybody could do it. Yeah. As I get older, I understand that there are other circumstances that affect people, that they might not be able to come out of these things. So I dedicated most of my life, actually, to help out low-class kids in church, in programs. I ran the program for 20 years, where we used to take kids camping all the time.
What's the name of that program?
Royal Rangers,
okay.
the Assemblies of God. And I had many commanders. We call ourselves commanders, and we used to take them out there, man. Kids that never seen the woods, kids that never had a father in the house. And
that's a good thing. And that's the thing. Yeah. And that's why I do what I do now too. Because first of all, the children are asked to be here, and when they get here, they may not have that male, role model, your male, around, and it's just always good to help out.
Yeah.
So what's your biggest What would you say your biggest challenge is of being a father?
Well, obviously, just to be honest, provision is a challenge in this country. It's not only just provide 3 meals, but it's about also providing security for the future. Working hard to make sure that it's a little bit left to the kids, or at least put them through school. A lot of parents struggle to put their kids to school, and it's very difficult. It's not an easy thing. That's why I started getting more patient with people, because in this country, especially, it's very hard. Dominican Republic, you do what you can do, and that's it. You come in here now, you got some facility and some work, and you feel responsible. Hey, man, I want my kids to go to school. And that was the promise that I made them. I told them, I say, every one of you guys want to go to school, you get at least a bachelor degree from me. The master, we could work it out on things, but at least I try to help out. After 20-something years of school, I just finished paying, finally, my school loans for my kids.
Wow.
Yeah, for Christine, man. I think was the last one.
What would you say is the most rewarding aspect of being a father and grandfather?
Again, belonging to a nucleus of people that you know that you're nurturing. Together, we feed off each other. We are not perfect by any means. We all got different character. My wife is, from not a different culture, but she's from a different island where things are a little different. So we struggle to trying to, get together with one another, the characters and the fights and the things that always happens in the family. We have promised that we will stay together to everything, because our promise was not to only each other, but it was to God, that we will stay together. So we have struggled to everything, and I think the most rewarding part is that here we are, 41 years later, and we're still married with our kids and our grandkids.
Speak on how the importance of having a strong woman in your corner.
Very important, because I am not a very adventurous person. I believe in just stick-togetherness. I believe that if I have AT&T, I'm going to keep AT&T for the rest of my life, and I would endeavor to do that. That's a little stupid sample, but in my life, in most of the things, that's exactly what it was. To me, is to stay together one way or another. It's very hard for one individual alone to do it. So you need a strong character person also that do it. It takes two to tango. So you also need to be able to tolerate adventurous spirit and things like that. Sometimes you want to come together as a family, and it's difficult because some people have different view of certain things. But you struggle to those things, and you go through it, and you see. I think the most basic things, you need to find some kind of a common ground for both of you. Ours was religion. Since we were youth in our church, that's what gave us our values. That's what made us who we are. So even though I was Dominican, she's Puerto Rican, it didn't matter. We saw one God. And so our moral comes from that Judeo-Christian.
Is there any advice that you could give to any young men, coming of age, that's going to be like a first-time father, or thinking about having children? What advice would you give to them to prepare for?
It's a commitment. Making a commitment to a new life that's coming. So if you're going to be having children, you got to make a commitment to them that you will do everything in your hand. And you know what? Everything in your hand sometimes is not enough. You got to go above and beyond, because it might be difficult sticking together with the partner, and now you got kids.
It's tough.
I think I advise any man that they need to be a presence in the lives of their kids, of their children, especially the boys. I'm not saying that the girls don't deserve, but the boys, in many ways, is the one that stick the nucleus of the family. So if that boy has an adventurous thing that he just wants to take over whenever there's too much responsibility, the destruction of the family nucleus is gone. So you need a man that is strong enough to say, hey, I made a commitment, we're going to stay together.
It's the foundation.
My wife left me, doesn't matter, I'm going to stick to my kids. Because that example that you give them is how they're going to also live their life. And if we just give them a bad example and we just leave, they're going to do the same. You know, it's the way of life. It's almost fate.
So if you had a chance to do anything differently on your journey, what would it be?
I wouldn't change anything because I believe that uh, God has plans for every human being that makes it. I believe that we actually are in a position to actually understand that. The way I understood this was late in my life when I'm in church, and I remember those days in the South Bronx and how all my friends were drug addicts. They died in gang fights. I mean, it was horrible situation. A lot of them that I grew up in school, not right now, they are depending on government to survive and things like that. That reminded me that if I survive that to be where I'm at today, I said there's got to be a plan in life for me because there's no way that I could have made it. There are circumstances in my life that I remember me and my brother that he's never would believe that we would have survived that. We thought we were going to die in the Bronx. That's actually what gets into your mind. So being able to be here now, I said only God could do that.
Yeah.
So there's a plan for every human being. You know, I guess you need to stick to it to make sure that it gets that you get there. You know, don't give up, keep going. You know.
How important is education to you?
Very important. I had changed my mind lately, actually very, very recently. I don't think formal education is the only way out.
Yeah, I always say that.
It's not the only.
And it's free now. You can
Exactly.
get all these outlets. You could take classes.
You could take my life. You know, I'm my brother. It's a Supreme Court justice. You know, presiding justice in New York. In the other hand, I learned a trade.
Yeah.
That's what I had. And on my trade, for 40 years, I've been employed. And I was able to make money, put my kids to school and did everything. So how much do we need to have a doctorate from a school? Maybe not necessarily. But I think you do need to make sure that you get some kind of education. Is not only a school degree. I'm a self-learned person. I learned one trade, and after that, everything else that I have learned is being on my own. I grab books, I grab this, I grab conferences, podcasts, whatever it is that I need to do to learn. So we could start any conversation. I could go to any social gathering, anywhere here in the United States, in any aspect, and I could hold my own. I could hold a conversation with doctors and things like that. And I have proved it to myself because I had done it. I go to Tomas activities with lawyers. I argue points with them that they think I'm a lawyer. They don't even know that I'm not. You know? So I wouldn't do much different. I think education is one of the prime things that we need to do. But again, I don't think we need to be obligated that we need to actually go and spend 8 years. Sometimes life doesn't allow us to do it. Things get a little difficult. But learn something. Become a mechanic, you know.
Take up some type of trade.
Right.
Did you have any type of male role model growing up, or anybody you looked up to, and how important is it for like a young man to have you know, even if it was your father or whoever, how important is it for a young man to have somebody, you know, to look up to? Yeah,
I'm a big believer of mentoring.
Yeah.
A father figure or a hero that you learn. There are 3 people. First was my father. My father used to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning. Me and my brother had to go out, put the thing because the car was in the garage, so he needed to drive it out of the street. So in order to save him some time, because he would leave at 4 in the morning and don't be back home until 10 o'clock at night. So we talk about 16 every day, and all he could be able to bring was 10 pesos to the house.
Wow.
So we could only eat for that day. So that's how we lived our lives. So yeah, I saw that, and he stick to it. He never gave up. He always kept going and going out every day. I used to get tired of putting these stupid things on planks so he could drive the car out. Man, I said, oh my God.
How you do it?
How does he do it if I don't get this thing down? You know. But there was also another gentleman that was actually like a philosopher of the town. He was the one that probably well read, you know, always into this mystical thing, and he is the one that I learned to be very intuitive, very good learner.
Mm-hmm.
Learning even on my own. I was one of the first few people in Santiago, in Dominican Republic, that read every book in the library.
Oh, wow.
It's not a big library. Remember, you talk about Dominican Republic, but every book that was there, I read it. And from that point on, I never stopped. I read voraciously every day. The magazine, books, newspaper, whatever.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah.
Because you may think it would be like something you think, oh, this probably some useless information, right? Then you get in those circles with the lawyers and stuff. You like, oh, and you go right to it immediately.
Exactly.
And you like, you know what, I just read this.
Exactly. Keep an open mind. That's what I always done. So that person that I'm telling you, he was very smooth. He was a young guy, but very smooth, and you could see that he would always had a book open in Dominican Republic. Unfortunately, 5 years later, my whole life almost collapsed. He committed suicide.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, not to even switch up, but I wanted to ask you something about that too. Maybe he committed suicide. Maybe it was something like depression. And I want to know, have you ever dealt with depression, or do you have advice for, any men that's feeling that pressure and it's just like they don't know what to do?
Yeah. That desperation could be depression. The fact that we were able to come to this country, we saw so much and we had so little. We were so deprived in Dominican Republic. Now, when we came here in 1969, the first thing we did was I must have drank like 3 gallons of orange juice because we never almost tasted the orange juice in Dominican Republic. So we came here, so everything, it was just like a salation. So when you go through that deprivation, you develop certain things in your mind and in your head about life that makes it difficult. And that difficulties actually could develop into depression, a feeling that I'm going to die,
defeated.
I'm not defeated, I'm not going to be anything in life. Yes, that could develop. I didn't have that opportunity.
Okay.
Because we came here, man, and we just went to school, and my parents told me, no, you are going to go to school. So they forced me to go to school. We used to come out at 3 o'clock and go help them in their job. It was like slave work in the Bronx. So, but we went to help them a little bit so they could come home a little earlier. Things like that. So that keeps you going. So even though it's difficult life, at the same time, it gives you that drive to keep going.
Yeah.
That defeats depression every time. It's when you settle down and you declare defeat that the depression goes over. I had never been depressed. I could tell you that for sure. I, however, have a syndrome, panic attacks syndrome, anxiety. That is developed also for always fighting, always striving for this and that and the other. That creates that anxiety and that thing.
Tell me about that.
So, when Gloria went to school the first time, my oldest, it was a difficult separation. We've been together all our lives, and now she is in Seton Hall, which I hated the area where she was. So that separation really. And one day I just came home, and I was sitting, and all of a sudden my palpitations started happening, and I said, "Oh my God, what is this? I'm having a heart attack." I have physical things since I was young. So we went to an emergency room, and the doctor told me, I said, "Ron, you have a very common anxiety attack. And a panic attack is something that sometimes you think you're in control, but the brain thinks different or knows different. So we suggest that you, for a month, take this medication." And I'm trying to remember the Prozac. For 1 month. Once you stabilize, you'll be fine, he told me. I said, hell no, man. I've been in control of my life all my life. I don't need no medication. I don't need anything. So I turned it down. A year later, a co-worker brought me an article in Time magazine to read it, and I read it. It was about an anchorman that did the same thing. He was in front of the camera. He looks at the camera. He started reading the teleprompter, and all of a sudden, can't read it. He doesn't even know how to read it.
Wow.
He got a panic attack right in front of the camera. To make a long story short, within a year, he has lost his job. His wife had left him, lost the kids, everything. In those days, in the 70s, there was no medication. Nobody knew anything what it was. So finally, a scientist from Germany brought the process. So did that one doctor said, listen, I think you have a very common thing. He told the anchorman, I suggest you take this medication, take it for 6 months, and let's see what happens. He took it. Within a year, he had his job back, his family back, everything back. So it's a physical reaction. Sometimes it's a lack of some chemicals that your brain produces, and when you get overwhelmed, sometimes with stress and a lot of work,
maybe it just inches away from you. You protect it. It's like, dang, I can't protect my baby now.
Right. So, that's exactly what it is. And you think you could handle it. Your brain saying you can. I mean, come on, you're young and you're strong. But your brain is saying, no, you're going to shut down. So now those chemicals that it produces to give you a feeling of peace, it doesn't produce it. And that's when the panic comes.
Okay.
And you feel anxious and things. So I struggle. Even till this day, I still struggle with some anxiety. I have it under control, especially since I retired. So,
All right.
But it's something that happens.
All right.
But depression does happen, by the way. And I'm a big believer that it does happen and it needs to be taken care of. There's no shame on it.
Yeah.
It's a chemical thing. We need to mentally start. The number one cure for it is realizing that you have a problem. There is such a thing as a depression. My brother is a very self-driven person. So his wife went to something. Some of the family has been going through it. He doesn't want to admit. Danny, being a military person, he's not a big believer in depression. So he had taken me a lot to tell him. I said, no, man, you need to be understanding of some people.
Yeah, for
they
real.
get overwhelmed and their life becomes, you might not be in that position. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It exists. And it's good to take care of it, even if it's with medication.
Yeah,
listen, everything in life is perception. It's perspective. It's when you think of somebody else that is in a better position, that guy is depressed because he doesn't know how to make his next million.
Exactly.
So he gets into all these kinds of mental, start taking drugs and alcohol and all that. So me, I might not have that much money, but I'm more at peace. I'm more satisfied with what I got.
Yeah.
Oh, it happens. Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on building support groups or services for men? For fathers. Something that could give a solid foundation. To build a community.
Big. It's big. I am a little skeptical and kind of a cynic when it comes to outside groups that had no other interest but to have a program. It's wrong. It's a job for them.
Yeah. So
they keep it more as a job for them and they try to help. I'm not saying that they don't care about the men, but I believe that the church service works better. It's a better program to work with them. I run it. I run the men's ministry in my church for many, many years.
Okay.
And one of the things that we have was men and mentoring programs for men, where we actually explain everything and we show them with examples in life how difficult it is for a kid not to have a father in the house.
Yeah.
We teach them how finances. We teach them reading and meditate. Calm down. I mean, try to act like this. Work out your problems in communication with your wives. To create a nurturing environment with the family. So I worked those programs for many, many years. I went from the Royal Rangers program for kids into fathers because we realized that the man is the nucleus of the development of that kid. See, that kid didn't have a father. He didn't know better. His kid, if he goes out and gets some girl pregnant, he'd be the same. He'd be leaving those kids there. So we realized, you know what? We need to develop the men that are here now. Give them the example. You need to be nurturing. We developed a program in my church through my program, a mentoring program, where we actually took kids out. We took them to movies. That's why we went camping with them. Yeah. And some of them said, yeah, but a father and son camp, and 75% of them had no father at home. So I said, well, you have a brother, and some of them have brothers, and how about an uncle that heard? Yeah, because we want them to be with a man figure in their life. So what we did was we created, and there's a sister program out there. I think it's Men United or something like that, which actually is mentoring. Okay. You are giving a child a boy, 13-year-old. I mean, that's the critical life.
Yeah, that's right there.
And this guy is given the responsibility to take that kid out to ball games, to the movies, take him out for lunch once in a while, and start teaching them how they had to act as a man.
Yeah.
And they learn a lot, you know. So and we created that. We created a mentoring program, you know, where we actually assigned the responsibility of a boy to one of the men in the church. So when we used to go camping, he would be the father for him for the whole weekend.
Okay.
You know, and it worked. We saw it working many times.
So,
He's not successful 100%. You lose a lot of kids, man. One kid that just died, I'm sure Christina told you, Anthony.
But,
We had Anthony in the Royal Rangers. He was 6 years old. My wife used to drive the school bus. She brought him to church, and he was a Royal Ranger since then. But he became a teenager, became a man, and started messing up. Wind up in jail like 2 or 3 times, you know. But he called me one day, and he told me, Mr. Acosta, you remember what you used to tell me about God? I said, yeah, that we leave God. I said, yeah, and you also told us that they're going to come one day in our lives. He might be in a jail cell, and the only thing going to come back to you is, man, there is a God, and I need to make myself right with him. And so he actually was able to do that. He realized at that moment when he was in jail, hopeless, that, man, if I would just listen to Mr. Acosta. And I told him, you know, it's never too late, bro. You know, keep going. God will get you out. And he was able to go out, had a child, enjoy him for about 9 months, and then he had a heart attack.
Wow.
Probably the drug uses and the thing. You know, very young guy.
What's a legacy you want to leave behind as a father?
That's important. And sometimes I don't want to get too involved with the legacy part. I know what kind of a life I need to live today. I know how I got to help my kids and my family, and now my grandkids that are growing up. What example I got to give them? It has to be of a man, a responsible man, a man that worked hard, so I be able to teach him, which I have. I think we're doing a good job. The legacy will take care of itself. There are other people going to have to judge that. You know, my sons and my daughters, when they're in my funeral, they should be able to tell me what I left behind. I'm hoping that is the best that I could. And I want to at least be recognized to know that, hey, at least I try everything I can. Some people don't. I never lay back. I always was going forward all the time. You know, so you might call that a legacy. My point is, they the one that need to recognize that, because if I did all this and they don't even know that, what the heck? You know. But you know what? We do things because it's what we got to do. We must do. That's how civil society has been able to progress. Is to always in that nucleus of respect and people that strive to do better. That's when you see success in any society. The societies that are completely broken down, you could see that it starts with the family breaking. And then the church breaks, and then everything, and then it's hell to pay. Now, let me just tell you what the difference is. There are people that create programs because they need a job. There are men that become pastors because they just want to have, not only even the tax break, because they don't get a tax break. They pay taxes like everybody else. The church doesn't pay taxes. But they, as individuals, they get a salary, they gotta pay their own personal taxes. However, in that cynical world that we live, absolutely, everything is possible. The one thing that I understand about men is that man is broke. Man is a broken man. Our nature is one of sinful things. So the easiest thing for men to do is the bad things, the evil things. Always. Even good men, sometimes they try to take advantage of this and the other, and they manipulate something. However, I do know that there are also men that are good, that struggle with that evil side of us, that bad nature of us, and they try to do the best they can. And sometimes they're successful, sometimes they don't. And I realize also that, yes, there are churches, guys that are just there for the business. But me as a Christian man, I developed my own relationship with the Lord. And I realized a long time ago that it's not about the pastor. That's why a pastor could come and go. They get thrown out. They steal money. You got to take him out. And this. But my relationship with the Lord never suffered. That's why I'm still faithful man till this day. I don't care what any pastor does. My relation, their job is to nurture me, to guide me. If they do a bad job, I know that I still have to respond to God. I'm responsible for my soul, not the pastor. You know. So yeah, they are bad guys, but they also a lot of good ones.
Good.
I realized that in the church, man, I make you an average. If it makes you happy, 50% of the pastors are good men. People that sacrifice their life. I got Pastor Hansen in our church. The man has spent 70 years traveling to South America to work with the poor. He took his whole family. They were raised in South America in squalid condition. No money, no nothing. Man, it's got to be something in that man's life, heart, that is pure. You know what I'm saying? I also seen some that they only want the salary and they get money and they steal it.
Leave.
Yeah, they
got
leave.
The nice car.
Oh yeah, I saw the those guys that get those super jets and things like that. I don't give money to any of those people in TV. So but we could become cynical and start making having doubts that there is a God. My point to you is, and to any man, is to look for that relationship with the Lord, one-on-one. Forget about the church, forget about the men. It's not about religion, it's about a relationship. David Koresh, he just went out and killed 1,000 people.
David Koresh. Who's David Koresh?
He was one of the evangelists, young guy. He seduced the mind of these young people. He was having sex with about 10 of the women, children all over the place. He interpreted a verse in the Bible the wrong way. So he goes on his own and committed suicide. I think Jim Jones says a man's responsibility for the spiritual life is not the pastor.
It's not.
There is no pastor that will ever misguide me to drink Kool-Aid and kill myself. I don't care what he does. In fact, I will work to stop him. I don't doubt myself in the church. I seen guys and I tell them, I said, dude, it's time for you to leave. I don't doubt. But it is my responsibility, I think, to do that. When you see evil, you got to take it out. I don't care. It's not about politics. It's not about anything. It's about evil and goodness. I mean, there are people that are there just to take advantage of the system.
Yeah, it's about community, and that's good that you do that too. You see something, you call them out. Yeah, you guys get some guys to take.
There are people that leave it alone, and who suffers? The kids. The people that get seduced mentally and they do stupid things, they spend their life killing themselves to give the money to somebody else. If you Google Rolando Acosta, you see.
Okay.
So either my brother or me, and we both are one voice that we will help any man that needs any help.
Thank you, Rolando. And
my pleasure.
Nice talking to you.
My pleasure.
All right.